And welcome in on the Monday edition of the Star Wars News Net podcast feed. Recording this on a Sunday, early evening, 5:30 Eastern time. Football heartbreak has fallen. The shroud of the dark side has overtaken us all. And yeah, that's just a typical Sunday in the life of the Tyler Bradshaw household. Luke, how are we doing?
It's a good Sunday over here. I haven't been following the Colts too closely, but they haven't been doing well. But if you don't follow them closely, I don't have to stress about it. So
He says, like, if I don't care, it's like, not my problem. Like,
not my problem.
We are back with another edition of the Star Wars Mission of the Month, titled this month, Scavenging Ord Mantell. Now, let me set the stage for you all, because we are on Ord Mantell this month. In the year 2ABY, each month, Luke and I tackle a mission in the Star Wars universe. We assemble the best team possible, head to head, and we want you guys to decide who has the best team. Again, we are in the year 2ABY. The Empire is much more agitated since the destruction of the Death Star, and the underworld of seedy characters are starting to become more brazen. It is a dangerous time to be a rebel, but that's just who you are. You've been running missions for some Rebel Alliance cells and other people and planets in need, but you need to make a pit stop on this planet to refuel and get back to the grind. The goal is to traverse the main city, Ord Mantell City, and pick up something valuable along the way in order to pay for your fuel and leave the city unscathed. Now, we ourselves are going on this mission. Luke and I will be going on this mission, so we'll be having to talk about that for a moment. But we will need to draft 3 other companions to accompany us on this journey. The roles are as follows. 1, a person who is sneaky and artsy enough to find something valuable in a shop and, quote-unquote, liberate it, so you can use it to pay for fuel for your ship. A real crafty character, to be sure. 2, we will need someone who has the respect of the streets, looking to make a quick skirmish or steal from you. Oh, sorry. We need the respect of the streets to hopefully ward off the bounty hunters or Imperials looking to make that quick skirmish or steal from us in turn. This person should also be able to hold their own against anyone trying any funny business. And lastly, we will need a droid that can accurately and quickly plot a course through the city. You'll want the droid to be good with slicing and navigation. A fun personality wouldn't hurt either. So essentially, what Luke has crafted for us today is a mission to Ord Mantell. We need to find something valuable because we are funneling supplies for the rebellion. So I'm funneling supplies for the rebellion. I need someone who is like able to discern what a valuable item is. I need someone who's going to beat up people for me because I am weak and small. And I need a droid that's going to help me survive. Is that pretty much what we have in store for us today, Luke?
That's what I was going for. Just some pretty different character archetypes that we'll need, and that would be a really fun kind of combo to put them together and see what kind of crazy mix your team would come out with. So yeah, okay. You nailed it.
As always, I give you the first pick. So you have 3 people to choose from. The artsy character, you have this artsy sneaky character, you have your street cred character, and your droid buddy. Of course, I always give you the first pick. You come up with the missions. I will let you select the first member of your team. And then after we get through with our teams, we will draft ourselves and explain why we fit into this wonderful little group.
All right. So first pick, I'm coming out strong with Chopper. I'm going droid slot, and I'm going C110P. Okay. Chopper is going to be a great navigational, fun little droid.
So you went Chopper. He's number 1 on my droid list. So that definitely puts a damper on my spirits. So having no Chopper is fine. So I don't have to pick my droid now. I feel really good about my picks, actually. Like, I feel really good about my picks. I'm going with my artsy, sneaky character. I do not think you have thought about this character. I do not think that this character is on your radar, but I think this is the number 1 character to choose from. I also believe that this character is 100% dead in the year 2ABY, We just have not seen that fulfilled yet on screen because I am choosing until Andor season 2 comes out, Luthen Rail. I am going with Luthen here, who, as of now, as of this moment, is
No confirmed death.
technically, possibly still alive in 2ABY because he has not died in Andor. Therefore, I can assume at this current moment in time he is alive. Now, I fully expect this time next year to be sitting here if we were doing the same mission, and Luthen's 100% not going to be around in 2ABY. But until that time, I'm drafting him for as many Rebel Alliance missions as I can. He owns a shop of antiquities, so he's going to be able to find something valuable. So he's gonna be able to like spot things that I am unable to see. He's also so he has very clear. He also is an incredible spy himself, like in being able to stay under the Imperial's radar. He is known as the figure of Axis, but they have no idea who he is, how many rebel cells he has organized in Andor. So I have to imagine, since he's definitely alive in 2ABY right now, that his prowess as a spy has only like increased. His
Only
skills have
increased.
only heightened, and his abilities to do this are only just completely maximized by a full rebellion effort. So I'm going Luthen. I feel pretty good about Luthen, but I will also acknowledge that the dude's probably going to die in about 6 to 8 months.
No, should he be alive? I mean, that's got to be number one pick. I mean, he's fantastic. I feel good about mine, but I mean, dang, I really didn't have Luthen on my radar. And it's a completely fair choice as of September 15th, 2024.
As of September 15, 2024. The Chopper thing would be interesting. I'm curious to see who you pair Chopper with for the rest of your like squad. I've also was curious that you didn't go like R2D2 instead of Chopper. Just personality wise, I feel like you and R2 would get along better versus, you're a little more laid back. So
That's fair.
I'm thinking like Chopper
They're
might
both a
be a
little
little
fiery.
true, but Chopper's a little bit more
Probably more
likely
so.
to, start like some sort of
Start a fight.
open warfare on Ord Mantell City versus R2 might just get a kick out of, tripping a stormtrooper on the side of the street.
And so that's where I have to trust my team, maybe even trust myself to rein in Chopper because I know he's got a high upside.
The high upside's there.
But the full round out of his character is also
the
underside.
variables there, the range of variables, the range of outcomes is extremely,
it's pretty wide.
Okay, so you went with Chopper to help you with this mission. We're stealing something from Ord Mantell, trying to get a layout of the city because we need to make some money so we can get back to helping the rebellion. I went with Luthen. Who are you going with next? You need someone with street cred that's going to ward off anyone that attempts to take you out, and you need your artsy and sneaky person.
So I'm gonna go with the number 1 slot. I kind of had the, in chronological order, the droid was like number 3 slot. So number 1 would be my artsy, maybe pickpockety kind of person. And I'm going with the con artist himself, Lando Calrissian.
Oh,
I think
okay.
he is a purveyor of the arts. Like he's gonna know what's worth credits, what's not. He's gonna know the black market credit value as well. He's gonna be able to swindle maybe our dockmaster into taking this something that maybe he knows there isn't anything valuable on Ord Mantell City, but he picked up something that looks like it would be, and he'd be able to swindle in the dock master to be like, yeah, this is actually worth 10,000 credits. Like, but if you want to pay me 6,000, I mean, that's quite a deal. I think you should give up the 6. Like he's gonna absolutely talk his way into something that shouldn't even work.
Here's my only question: is Lando willing to work for the rebellion in 2ABY at this point in time? Like, if I is Empire at 3ABY?
Yes. So this is before he even meets up with Han at Cloud City.
So you're assuming you can get him on board. You think you can get him on board is what I'm saying.
And I
Like, you
just need him
think
for
that
this job.
something about like Luke Sheehan, how are you going to pitch to Lando Calrissian that he needs to join you for this mission when he's, running his little mining operation?
It's a good point. I do think I'll be able to tell him that maybe even his friend Lobot is going to need us, or it's like somehow
So now
get
you're
him to think
lying
that
to
there's.
are you lying to Lando?
I think
Or
so, yes, because
okay.
he's going to be lying on our behalf. He's probably going to try to lie to me to get out of this, but I'm going to somehow pull him in with the fact that there's something valuable for him at the end of this, and the
So you're gonna
valuable
swindle the
thing,
swindler.
yes, and the valuable thing for him at the end of the job is that he now has a conscience. And he's
He
going to
now
be
has a contract.
mad.
So this if this canonically happens, one might argue that him getting this conscience and this mission is actually what allows him to ultimately do the right thing at the end of the Empire Strikes Back and join the rebellion, like full fledged
I
join
would
the
like to
rebellion.
think I impact the galaxy that much. Sure. Yeah.
So you, in your own way, have altered the fates of many in this
Altered
one.
the deal.
So I respect that. I respect that. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my street cred person. And I'm going off the rails here. I'm going with a very low key team. This is like a low key team. I had 3 people in mind for this specific role, and 2 of them are large presences that would attract some attention. And I said we're gonna go more stealth, but I still need someone that takes care of. I'm going Infus Nest as my street cred
Well,
person to ward off bounty hunters and other people. Now, here's why I think Infus actually works really well. Clearly, Infus has a reputation that Crimson Dawn is aware of the agitation that Infus in her like little group are providing,
Cloud Riders.
and they are, and Crimson Dawn is somewhat like fearful, like they're fearful of Infus as well because they're like worried about them interfering. So they clearly, Infus Nest clearly has enough like built into respect. Like, so people might know, based off of if you see her, you see her going around that, she means business and not to mess with her. But if they don't, they quickly will, find out and realize that she can absolutely hold her own. But also, I feel like I can maneuver in the streets without attracting too much attention. I considered people like Chewbacca and Zeb was my other one I was
Zev is
gonna
a
have
good
on
one.
there. But I was like, you know what? With Luthen, I feel like he is so into stealth and he's so into like subterfuge that we should probably keep a team that can keep a lower profile because of that. And so that's why I was like, you know what? Like, Infus would be like a perfect kind of bodyguard maybe to have in this situation because sometimes when you have like those bigger characters, it's like you're almost inviting the challenge. Like if you're walking around like with, it's like, oh, someone might take you on because you look like you mean business. Rather with Invis, it's like, okay, we're gonna have someone that can subtly just, protect me. But I don't necessarily am like, I'm not attracting attention.
That's a good point because I mean, the goal is to not attract attention, but to if someone does want to pick a fight, like you're gonna win. So good, good choice there.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, for my two stop, my last one that I'm choosing here. Um, yeah, I need some muscle, and I need a team that gels together. And I think at this point in the timeline, I think it'll work if I am choosing
Okay.
Chewbacca. I think
Mhm. Yeah.
he's super solid. Like he's never been. He's a great character. I think while Han and Lando might not have the tightest relationship here, they're probably kind of at odds, maybe at before Empire. I think Lando still has quite a bit of respect for Chewie, and I think Chewie even has some respect for Lando. I think those two can work together at this point in the timeline. Um, and I think we'll get to the part where we round out and how we
Mhm.
talk about the whole team. But like, I think even Chopper and Chewie, maybe I could play a little bit of little bit of middleman there, but I think
You're
they'd be
stepping in
okay.
between a Wookiee and a, killer droid.
Homicidal droid. I am, because I'm the glue that holds the thing together.
You
But
are the
yeah,
straw
Chewie's.
stirring that drink, my friend.
We've seen. I've just been reading a lot of comics lately, but like anywhere you see Chewie pop up, he does have the respect of like the people that are also in the story. Like even the villains are like, don't mess with Chewbacca. Like he's a Wookiee. Just simply the fact that he's a Wookiee is like,
Right.
let's not mess with him. So like I think I want him on my shoulder. Absolutely.
Chewie, I mean, I consider Chewbacca like absolutely. He is a wrecking ball when he is tested. The dynamic between Chewie and Lando, and we don't see that dynamic a lot just in general in Star Wars. You're on that main like comic line right now. What
So they are
are there?
interacting quite a bit.
Okay, do they have a lot of interactions in the comic line? Okay, I have
Yeah.
not caught up on the Star Wars like main run, so I couldn't tell you what's going on with Chewie and Lando. So they're interacting quite a bit. You
They're
say?
not like best friends, but they're both like in Rebel headquarters, like with Leia, and like Leia connects them, and she's wonderful. So like they definitely get along after Empire.
And
um,
I could see
yeah,
Chewie even being the one to recommend Lando to you in some capacity if you're recruiting for this mission, even. But
absolutely.
and he probably goes with you as you're trying to swindle the swindler, and he probably is like the convincing argument, like Lando, if you don't show up for this rebel mission, a Wookiee might rip your arms off in some capacity.
Yeah, rip your arms off, as Han says in Episode 4.
So I went with subterfuge for the last time, and I do not know if this droid is still kicking or not. And a lot of that is because I have not seen uh, Jedi Survivor. I have not played Jedi Survivor yet, sadly for myself. And obviously, I believe there will be a third Jedi game that comes out. So I would assume that my best buddy BD1 has not bitten the dust and died in Jedi Survivor. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, survives.
Okay. So I'm making sure my best buddy is still alive. I would assume if Cal Kestis survives his Jedi journey, if he hasn't already, he's going to be involved in some sort of rebel cell to take off the Empire. And so if he survives that, then you know that BD1 will be there as well. And if Cal doesn't survive, but BD does, I assume that BD, being the droid that he is going to find a way to get avenge his dear best buddy's life. And so BD, super tiny droid, in Jedi Fallen Order, he can like provide you with like layouts of areas and scan into different things.
Oh
He's
yeah,
definitely
perfect choice.
smaller. He's like smaller. I think he fits the vibe of the team. I had R2 and Chopper like written down as like top tier options as well, because how could you not have R2 or Chopper in your options right now? But I was
Yeah.
thinking like, okay, we technically don't know if BD1 is around the
That's
rebellion at
two
this
for
time,
you. That's two for
but
you with Luthen and BD1. It's like,
we don't know that they're not around.
and
And
that's a safe
so
assumption.
if I am not being told that they
You're
are
with
not
fire
here,
here.
then I can recruit whoever I want. And so in my headcanon of Star Wars, I know exactly where to find these people or droids. And I know because we are best friends. I'm like BD. I know we've been on a lot of journeys together, like me controlling your buddy Cal on these Star Wars journeys throughout the ruins of Zepho and other places. So obviously we have a built-in connection, me and BD, because I can relate to him on his journeys with Cal Kestis that he's been on, and he's gonna probably wonder like, oh, how do you know about all this? And it's gonna be this really meta thing that takes
Do you know
place.
about Zepho?
I was like, do I know about Zepho? How many times do you think I did Google how to get out of Zepho on YouTube when I was trapped there? It was freaking disgusting. But no, I'm going with BD1, my best buddy, BD. And I think he fits the vibe, stealth, subterfuge, subtlety. We want to get in and out. We're not going in guns blazing, which is very like anti how I usually like operate. I'm like, let's get in, and start blasting things. But now that I have to go on this mission, and I am actually putting myself at risk,
You're
like
there.
unlike last time where it was just whoever we wanted to send into battle. I could send Jar Jar into this mission. Sure, I don't have any skin in the game.
That's
Now
true.
you're asking me to risk my butt to do this. Of course, I'm going to probably take the safest possible approach.
I like it. And that's
Probably why
like
I'd be a
what I
terrible
wanted, like
rebellion spy is because I'm not really willing to take all the risks needed, I guess.
oh man, Cassian he'd have you. Beginning of Rogue One, you're not willing to take the risks. You're not willing to sacrifice everything here.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Sold.
So
Yeah, that's a
walk
good
me
crew.
through, walk me through your squad here. You have, a pretty compelling list here. You have Chopper, okay? We have Chewbacca, and we have Lando Calrissian. Okay, so those are your 3 people. Where do you fit in this list? Because you're going on this. So draft yourself into this team. What is your role? Are you the leader of this group? Are you just pulling these groups together? Is someone else going to take charge? What are you, where do you fit into this little insignificant band
of rebels? So I was, I didn't state this because I didn't want this to be the scenario, but something that could absolutely work in here. I kind of figured like I'm the pilot. Like I'm kind of the one that has the ship and I own it. And this is
Okay.
like my crew to kind of like help me out. And like I need more hands on deck and like get this done. So I'm kind of like because I'm the pilot, I feel like I'm also kind of like running point on this entire mission. Like I'm kind of the leader, and maybe I'm not the most talkative or outspoken or biggest personality out there. Like in real life, I know I'm not, but like I think I'm a pretty good cohesive member of a team. I think I could really relate to each person individually, and I would understand how to pull these people together, like and get them to work together to benefit the rebellion.
You
Because
chose 3 of the biggest personalities in Star
yeah,
Wars on your team. Now,
definitely
I
2 of
agree
them.
with
Chewie
everything
maybe
that you
not
said.
be a huge personality, but
Oh,
like
Chewie's a big
lit.
person. Chewie's got a big personality. He works well with people, but he's got a big personality. I mean, we're
That's
talking about
true.
a guy that was it like the first time we see him in like A New Hope, he's ready to rip C-3PO's arms off in a game
Yeah,
of the Jark because
the
he was gonna lose.
let
So
the
here's
Wookiee
why
win.
I agree with you that you would be able to kind of sit back, let them be themselves, come together as a unit, lead by more quiet example than necessarily like intense vocal leadership, but the calm presence you would provide, I think, is what's going to be needed in this situation.
It's kind of what I figured is like it would mesh well together because we're so different. Like I
Mhm.
am not exactly like Lando. I don't see a lot of myself in him. And so I think with him being the only other human on the mission, since we're kind of opposites, I think we could actually like play that to our advantage. Could hurt us.
I
I
think
think
about
I'll
this too.
make it work.
All of your people have a common like thread because they've all interacted before. So like it's not like
I think they've
anyone's
all
going in
even yeah.
completely unaware because Chopper even was owned by Lando for about 15 minutes of screen time at one point.
Yeah.
And in that Rebels episode,
Yeah.
obviously Chewie and Lando have, history, hopefully more history that we get to see come to screen at some point.
Oh,
I do love
yeah.
how you were referencing the moments from Chewie and Lando in Solo for some of your backstory,
Yeah.
while I also chose a character from Solo to be a part of
Mm.
this. The Solo, a Star Wars story representation, going very hard
He's
in
strong
this.
with this one.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did you see the Lando, or sorry, the Donald Glover like interview with Wall Street Journal, talking about what the Lando movie should be?
I just saw some little snippets and comments from it, but yeah, I did see that. I didn't read the full thing, but kind of exciting that there's still talk about it. It seems like maybe it's not dead in the water.
It's one of those really interesting
It
things
could
because
be, but
I've said for a while I don't think we're ever going to see this movie, but
yeah,
he's
it looks
openly
bad.
talking about it in an interview. However, this is where I push back. Everything that he said that I've seen so far, like I need to go finish watching, but from what I gathered, he's not like exactly giving details about oh, I'm this far into writing, or
Right.
it's more of, I want my Star Wars movie to be fun. We need to have fun. And he talks about like real life things that are, part of the human experience, but we're forgetting to have fun. We need to have fun again. All of that can be said, even if you have like none of your movie written,
Nothing. Yeah,
or
exactly.
like nothing has happened. You could say all of that. And he's so eloquent and charming and, smart and knows what to say. Like he's obviously a very polished individual too. Like he's very masterful. He could say a whole lot without saying anything at all. I think he gave some substance here, but the substance that he gave doesn't give me an idea of, oh, are you far along in this process or not? I don't know. And that still leads me to be like kind of on the cautious and pessimistic side for this one.
Yeah, it doesn't scream like I'm almost finished. Like I'm working on it currently right now. Like there's nothing that indicates that there's even anything done or anything planning to be done. It's just simply like, well, this is what I would want it to be. Should I work on it? Should I get it done? And so,
Well, he
yeah,
he notoriously works, like his projects are like quiet and he works slowly on them on his own time. So he very well may be like very deep into it. It's impossible to know.
he's
It's
just not
just
telling
like
us.
yeah, he's just not telling us. He's probably not allowed to tell us too. But it's just weird that if this movie was going to happen, it's just odd that Disney Lucasfilm has said absolutely nothing about it at all publicly. Like since that time, Kathleen Kinney outstretched her arms in front of the backdrop of all of the concepts of a plan that seemed to exist there. If you
Yeah,
catch my drift.
yeah, I do.
So anyway, back to the mission. I will draft myself onto this team now. So I have BD, I have Luthen, and I have Infus. And Luthen is going to lead us on this. I picked him specifically because I don't want to be the leader on this trip. Like I have no
That's
desire to do
fair.
that. I picked people that I think will fall in line with what his direction is. And the reason I picked Impus here is because I think that she would be a great leader on this trip, like in terms of like following what Luthen says. But she has, from her the little bit of time we see, a very like it seems like deeply grounded morals, since like in morality, and she's a very human character. So if there were any moments in time where Luthen maybe was pushing the boundaries of what I'm comfortable with us doing on for our personal rebellion like trip, this personal mission that we're on, I have someone that can back me up and can enforce that against Luthen, because she's not afraid to step up either and could easily just kind of, what's her weapon called? Like the little like axe staff, like electro thing
Yeah,
she has,
electro
like
staff
this
axe.
electro
I'm not sure
staff.
what that is called, but cool.
She could easily like open a can of whoop ass on him and take him out if she needs to. And then BD, obviously just he's gonna perch on my shoulder and we're just gonna be best buddies. It's gonna be fine. He'll probably hang out with Luthen. Luthen will probably say some mean things to him, and then we're gonna get to a point in this journey where I'm gonna be over here and I'm just be sitting and like, man, Luthen's just been having it so easy. And he's going to go on some really long monologue. I have it easy, do I? You know what I've sacrificed? Everything.
Everything.
And then he's like, I burned my life for a service. I'm like, dude, I know. I've heard it like 100 times. We're in the ship. We're flying over. We're like about to leave Ord Mantell, head back to Rebel, headquarters on Hoth or whatever at this time. And he's practicing in the mirror. I burned my life for a sunrise I know I'll never see. Like he's over there just like practicing. I burst my decency to the ground for someone else's future. Like he's over there just like really practicing those lines. Like that's the same speech. It
And he's
wasn't
like
actually an
switching up
off
the
the cuff.
order.
It wasn't an off the cuff thing. It's actually that's the speech he gives to all like the people in the rebel cells that are
Oh,
thinking about deserting.
I think that'd be
Love,
kind of funny.
kindness, kinship. I've given up
So
all
good.
chance of inner peace. I made my mind to southern space. So good. That monologue is so good. I can't freaking wait for Andor.
And it's insane
season 2.
that's in the same episode as Kino Loy's speech breaking out of Narkina 5, right?
It's like they just went. Tony Gilroy went so hard with the monologues in that episode that we do not deserve the hardness of the monologues. And which one is your favorite? You prefer the Luthen one or do you prefer the Kino Loy? If you had to pick
I
one.
think I'm That's tough because they're both amazing, but I think I'm gonna choose Kino Loy. That
Mhm.
one was they both got me goosebumps. Like, they're both amazing. I don't know why. I just was really resonating with, like, breaking out of prison. I was really
Yeah.
resonating with, like, just you could even watch that today and be like, "You know what? I'm kind of in a funk, in a rut in my personal life. Like, I needed that to get me, like, I need to change up my routine or something." Like, it speaks volumes. And Luthans can
It's
do the
like
same
well, it's
thing.
like the 2 different ones. It's you have, like, the one that is like, "Oh, this is, like, inspiring, like, I'm ready to go take on the world," and then Luthans, which is where, like, "I have to go take on the world. I have no choice, like, this guy's
Yeah.
over here doing all this. I gotta do something, like, it's, I gotta do my part." No, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So, we have our teams. You have Chewbacca. Alright, you run through the team, just in case I forget.
So, from the top, we have Lando Calrissian, Ladonis Balthazar Calrissian. Second, we have Chewbacca. And third, to round us out, we have Chopper.
Okay. So I have Luthen Rail, Infus Nest, and BD1. In the comments, let us know which team is better suited to complete this mission to Ord Mantell. Please drop in those comments, why mine is superior in every single way. That would go a long ways towards boosting,
I would
my
love to see someone
credibility
say
in these
that.
missions of the month. This is a good time. Join us on Thursdays every week on the Star Wars Newsnet YouTube channel for Star Wars Newsnet Live, where Luke and I are joined by a third guest, usually Jay, maybe sometimes Miguel. Someone else might pop in from time to time. And we talk about the latest in Star Wars. Hopefully, this week we can talk about Rebuild the Galaxy some. I haven't got to watch it as of right now. We're recording this.
Me
I
either. I
want to
should do
try to
that
watch
today.
some maybe tomorrow night after I do some grad school homework, and I'm going to some kids' soccer games. So I got a lot going on, but I might try to watch like one episode tomorrow night and then grind some out. On Saturdays, you can join Luke and I every Saturday for the next piece of canon material as we go through the Star Wars timeline in canonical order for the Star Wars Newsnet timeline show. We are on episode 27 this next week, covering episodes 23 and 24 of Young Jedi Adventures Season 1. We only have 2 Saturdays left in Young Jedi Adventures before we get back into some High Republic novels. So we're in the year 232 BBY over there. It is Luke and I's passion project. Please give us a follow on Apple and Spotify at Star Wars News Net. Every Monday, we also bring you a podcast right here so that way you can start your week off strong with some Star Wars. And this week was just like having some fun, just riffing about some Star Wars. We like to do that every once in a while when news is slow. For Light and Life, everyone, remember that we are all the Republic.